Coming up this week, have we hit a critical mass when Superboy gives up on trying to understand his own backstory?
What is Jon Stewart's least favorite Julia Roberts movie from 1991?
All this and more is coming up next. It's episode 81 of DCR.
This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of DCR, episode 81, what I like to call the Gravelly Voice episode. I am joined this week, of course, by Mr. Brian Gline. Hello, sir.
I'm going to be singing all Tom Waits' greatest hits.
And, of course, the lovely, bubbly, effervescent Miss Kelly. Hello, Kelly.
Hello.
I think you have the best voice out of all of us.
Awesome.
Awesome. Indeed. You're going to have to carry the show because guess what we did? We went to Cedar Point. All of us, different times, but all of us within the last week. So, hitting America's...
In the past 2 days.
Yes, hitting America's rock and roller coast, as they call it.
We reach up high and kick the sky.
Yes, our voices are kind of gone from all of the hooting and hollering and shouting. So, bear with us. My apologies. Sincerely. It's a little bad, I know, but what can you do? It's summertime. So this week, we're going to go over all of the books that came out from DC Comics in their new 52 line. We're going to try something different.
Yeah.
I figured we'd do that this week instead of what we usually do. As such, by the end of the show, you should have a good idea of what has gone on in these books this week. But we will...
We're holding off on the knitting podcast for 1 week.
Yeah, just for 1 week. So if you do not want your book spoiled, you probably do not want to listen to this particular episode. Questions, comments, concerns, and corrections. I do want to get one correction out of the way because I was lambasted over the last week or so because when we were talking
on account
about...
of your lambasting?
Yeah, oh, geez, man. What was it? Batman Eternal, I believe it was?
Mm-hmm.
No, it was Justice League. Your Justice League when Alfred pulled out a gun and I said, hey, that's the same gun that James Bond uses. A Walter PPK.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Walther PPK, not a Walter. And I had so many corrections that I'm going to put that one out there. Yes, I am aware. I'm easily excited and I sometimes say things incorrectly. You guys should understand that by now. But questions. First one we got comes from Matthew Forcefields, and he asks, have you read Injustice? And if so, would you recommend it?
Nope.
Kelly?
Nope, never read it.
Man, you guys just kind of dumped this one on me, didn't you?
Well, see, when Brian said nope like that, I was just like, well, maybe he's saying nope, I wouldn't recommend it.
Oh, okay.
Actually, you did have me read one issue, but I forgot about it.
Yes, you have read one issue.
I vaguely recall Harley Quinn and Oliver
the
Queen
Arrow
hanging
Cave.
out.
Yes. That was a good issue of that. Why do I keep calling issues episodes and episodes issues?
I don't know, man.
It's driving me nuts.
You've got issues.
Zeta Beam accident.
I have read all of it. I'm current with it. I've been following along. It's one of my few digital ones that I read. I do recommend it as an Elseworlds title. If you just want to try something different, it's big. It's popcorny. It's, as Brian calls it, widescreen comics. I'm sure you invented that term.
Yeah,
you
that's
invented
me.
that term.
All
I
me.
remember.
Not someone else.
So it is a good time. There is a lot of stuff going on, and it's kind of fun to read when there is no holds barred and people die incessantly. Incessantly do people die, so no one is safe except for the people that are in the game. So if you haven't played the game, you don't know who's safe. Wahaha.
There's no hold barred. Do Hulk Hogan and Tiny Lister show up?
I knew you were going to go there.
The guy from Wayne's World.
So yes, I do recommend it. Next question though. J-Ty Patrick off of Twitter. My comic-loving friends, what are your thoughts on the new Grayson series idea? I'm assuming he's asking about the premise itself with him being super spy Dick Grayson. Man, you must be really excited by it.
Yeah.
That big ol' yawn as soon as I even mentioned the title.
Yeah. It's a book that's being published right now.
It is. As a matter of fact, this week is number 1. We're going to talk about it a little later.
Yeah, you're going to be talking about it.
I am.
I'm very, is ambivalent the right term?
Really?
Like, I don't really, I honestly could not care either way.
Were you not a big Nightwing guy prior?
Like, I did like Nightwing. I'm also of the opinion right now that there's too many Robins. And
But who would you get rid of?
Honestly, probably Tim.
Yeah, I think I would get rid of Tim.
Tim and Red Hood would go first.
No, don't touch my Jason. My Red Hood and the Outlaws needs him.
No, yeah, those would have been the first 2 I would have just like, okay,
Otherwise, it would just be the Outlaws.
Yeah.
Not quite the same.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things where, continuity would have been just, if they'd have just let Jeff and Grant go off and finish up their runs as a separate thing and then just get a clean reboot. We could have had, Damian hanging out and, Tim was the original, Dick Grayson was the original Robin, and that was that. It would have been such a nice, clean, tidy little thing.
Well, technically, Tim was Red Robin.
Well, yeah.
What do you think, Kelly? Do you think a Robin becoming a super spy agent is an interesting idea at the very least?
Yeah, it could be.
It could be.
You could possibly. I have no clue what the stories are going to be like. It could work.
Anything
it could totally work.
has the possibility of being interesting.
Yeah. Whereas me, the first thing I thought was like, oh, well, Sean's probably going to read that one. I won't have to worry about it.
I looked at it and said, well, Brian won't read that one, so I guess I'm doing it. Which is basically how I end up splitting up the books most of the time.
A sterling recommendation. I'm letting you keep detective.
What's that? You did. I do appreciate that.
I'm being very nice.
Oh, yes. You have no ulterior motives whatsoever. Although later on this week, the streak is ended. Because you get to see Bleak Michael for the first time.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm going to save my opinion for this question because we're going to move into this week's books, and I'm actually going to start us off with Grayson number 1. So hold on just a quick second as we jump into this week's books. All right, Grayson number 1. It is a comic being published by DC Comics. As Brian so aptly put it. You guys at least know what the initial setup of this book is, correct?
Yeah, everyone thought Dick Grayson died in Forever Evil, which everyone is referring to as the Forever Evil event,
yes,
as we all know.
Everyone knows this.
Yeah, and so Batman's just like, hey, people think you're dead. I can use that to my advantage, surrogate child. So can you do this other thing where you pretend you're dead and forsake your family?
And friends and life and everything.
He's like, well, okay, that whole Chicago thing didn't work out that well, so...
I was enjoying the Chicago thing.
Well, yes, but he apparently...
Batman did not enjoy it. Batman is editor of the Batman line right now.
Batman does not like deep dish Nightwing. We'll never find out who that superhero serial killer was.
I have a feeling we will someday. I bet you if we go watch something called Cowl, we can figure it all out. That is the short movie that Kyle Higgins made based kind of on the same storyline. Where there was a cape killer out there.
It's a little weird that he adapted his own thing into a comic.
He was going a different direction with it.
Gotcha.
But, it was basically I'm going to try something similar.
This is the bonus edition deleted ending that I get to use.
So now it is Dick Grayson has infiltrated the ranks of an organization called Spiral. We remember them from Batman Incorporated. They were kind of the gray area. Well, they weren't gray at first. It was Otto Netz, the neo-Nazi or ex-Nazi that was running it and killing off superheroes left and right using the Spiral's resources. Then it was kind of taken over, and now it's kind of this morally gray, and no one quite knows what they're doing, and that's why Grayson has been sent in to infiltrate it. But he has a partner in this endeavor. Well, not really a partner. His partner that was assigned to him within Spiral, Helena Bertinelli, who, as we discussed last time, used to be the Huntress, I believe.
This is a completely different... The Huntress that we saw is now that we remember is now the Earth 2 Huntress.
Yes.
This is a completely different character, different ethnicity, costume, everything.
And I kind of like it. I'm digging it. Mm-hmm. Well, they are on a little bit of a job. They're going out on their first mission. So our setting, Russia, on a train. I have a little mood music here so we can get into the whole Russian feel. Can't you hear it? It's awesome. It's great.
Are we playing Tetris right now?
No, we're not playing Tetris right now. So they are doing this train job where they need to get on there and get this Russian national off of the train before the SVR, the Russian CIA can get a hold of this guy and take him into custody themselves. And basically, Helena Bertinelli is going around using her feminine wiles to try to trick this guy into following her. And they have these devices called Hypnos that I assume can make... We'll talk about them a little bit later.
Okay.
But
So it's a pocket watch?
kind of. She refuses to use her Hypno and is trying to use her feminine wiles to get this guy. And Dick Grayson is in her earpiece like, why don't you just use the device you have? I mean, it would be so much easier. And she's like, I don't need it, blah, 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 blah.
She just wants to feel better about herself.
She does. This is all about fishing for compliments right now.
It really is.
And
I mean, if a girl's, doing that.
if a girl had a device that she could push a button and hypnotize a guy, I would probably be walking around going, yes, master, all the time. I'm not saying it would be any different on the other side of the gender shoe, but still, if that was available to the public, it would not be a good thing.
No.
Whatsoever. So this all busts loose. The SVR is already there. They are having a shootout, and Dick Grayson ends up getting this Russian national and jumping off the train. As gunfire is firing all around them, he uses his Hypno, and the easiest way to describe it is a mix between ecstasy and acid. Because all of a sudden, this Russian national just straight up starts tripping balls. I mean, he is seeing giant Russian bears dancing in the fields, and there's flowers singing songs and a rainbow, and he just sees Dick Grayson as his best friend, and they're skipping and frolicking through the fields toward this abandoned power plant.
You gotta love that light PG-rated punch-out racism.
By what are you saying? I liked the punch-out racism of every culture. It was like, what is the most stereotypical thing we can put here? There we go. He's got a fuzzy hat, and the hippos were very offended, though.
Yes.
Very offended. So they go skipping off to this abandoned power plant, and there is a gentleman there who is also after this Russian national. A gentleman that we've met before, a gentleman by the name of Midnighter. And he's standing there and he's like, hey. Midnighter from Stormwatch.
Okay.
And he's just standing there like, hey, I'm here to pick up this guy. I have a mission to get him. I don't know who you are, what you're doing. And they start fighting. And it's actually a very intriguing fight because I guess Midnighter's power is he can read people's motions. Like he's almost precognitive, I guess.
Possibly. He was Wildstorm Batman.
Okay,
originally.
well, that's kind of his thing.
I think they gave him this extra thing to differentiate him when they merged him together.
Well, if you recall, Dick Grayson's little thing is that he can read people's muscle motions so he can sense what they're going to do next. So it's basically the two of them precog fighting one another and knowing what the other one's going to do and countering it beforehand. So then they're countering the counter. It's an intriguing little fight scene, and they're having a conversation at the same time. A nice way of, I guess, putting him out there at first to get out all of his abilities right out the gate, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So he ends up basically fighting it to a draw with Midnighter, and then this Russian national just all of a sudden, pow, shoots out this giant laser blast from his drugged out chest, where he's just like, yay, you're my friend, shoot laser beams, it's a rave now, yay! And he's gonna overload. He has some sort of chip that's inside him, that's why everyone's after him, and it's gonna make him overload like a nuclear meltdown. And so Grayson goes, okay, well, I have to cool you down, so he keeps taunting him as he shoots laser blasts at him until eventually he fizzles out and just falls to the ground. So yay, mission accomplished. They haul this national back to St. Hadrian's finishing school for girls, the headquarters of Spiral. I guess that was where they were training girls to be assassins for Spiral back in the Morrison Run drink.
Several times already.
Yes, I know. Where Bertinelli, he's in his room trying to make contact with Batman. He's taking apart his clock radio to try to turn it into a comms unit to contact Batman. And Helena Bertinelli comes in and they have this conversation, and she straight up seduces him, and he's about to make out with her when he's like, no, we're not allowed to do this. And she's like, I know, I just wanted to show you I don't need Hypnos, and just struts out the room. And he's like, damn, that's hot. Now,
Fishing for compliments.
Yeah, that's right. Now downstairs, the glorious leader of this Spiral organization, who is a weird-looking guy. Did you ever see the film adaptation of Sin City?
Yeah.
Do you remember Elijah Wood's character? Kind of the creepy with the glasses.
Yeah.
And just very cold. Like, his personality, the tone that they give this guy is very much that.
Okay.
Just kind of cold, distant. You can't quite read him and see what he's going to do. His face is just a big spiral because of his Hypno that he has on. No one can see him, and he just wears glasses. That's all you can see is this big swirly face with glasses. he is working alongside Dr. Otto Netz, that Nazi that I talked about prior, his daughter, and what they are doing is they want to demask every hero because, as he says, with godhood must come transparency, and that's their mission statement at Spiral. And as we see on the computer, they have the secret identities of Batman, Cyborg, Flash, and all their friends and aliases and everything like that. So they are slowly compiling the who's who of the DCU on their own. They're apparently just too cheap to go buy it, so they're just going to put it together themselves.
Otto Netz's daughter. Is her first name Aqua?
No, her name is not Dr. Aqua Netz.
Oh, if only. If only.
We can start playing the old 80s commercials for that and just go to town. I enjoyed it.
It sounded more fun than I would have expected it, and more than the preview pages would have led me to believe.
Yeah, those
besides the very nice Mikkel Janin art.
Of course. The Janin artwork does not hurt whatsoever. It seems they have a tone where they can still keep him light, where he has like the whole moonlighting relationship with Helena Bertinelli, the will they, won't they type thing the entire time, where she is not as dour as the Zero issue, or I guess Nightwing 30, as I would call it, the Grayson Zero issue, but she was very dour, very cold, very distant, and it was like, this is going to be kind of weird unless he can make her somewhat conversational. Right out of the gate, they're kind of palling around, doing their own thing, mocking each other in their methods. It makes it a fun read.
Okay.
And it is heavily, heavily steeped in all of the Batman Incorporated style.
Which we love.
Exactly. So. And it's not going to be your top tier. It's not going to be Mr. Freeze showing up. It's not going to be the Joker. It's not going to be those types of villains. It's all these weird side characters that have their own motives and everything like that. So it intrigues me enough that I'm in it for at least the first arc.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may borrow it if you like.
I might.
You might. It's Tim Seeley. I know you like some of his stuff prior.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, moving on. What do you got next,
right.
Brian?
Infinity Man and the Forever People number 2.
Right. I forgot I passed this to you.
The opening act to Superman and the Doomsday Effect, as we know, are Infinity Man and the Forever People. They are Viking, Seraphina, Dreamer, Moonrider, Big Bear, and apparently Darkseid, according to the first page. Darkseid!
He just kind of hangs out every now and again.
Very important!
Darkseid's very creepy stalker, though.
Yes, he's just standing over Dreamer's bed, and Moonrider shows up and he's like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here, Darkseid. I'm going to shake my finger at you, and nothing bad's going to happen whatsoever."
So are all the new gods from the other planet, New Genesis, are they just so used to battling with Darkseid that he just didn't really seem that fazed by it? He's like, "Hey, Darkseid, get out
What
of
are
here.
you doing here? Fists on hips, turn your head sideways." Yeah, apparently, Beautiful Dreamers, or Dreamer Beautiful, or whatever they're calling
Whichever
it.
it is.
They didn't clarify it in this issue. When she dreams, her dreams can come to life, and they can't hurt her. So him just standing over her bed, Twilight style, really wouldn't have caused any problems. But when a Moonrider showed up, he totally could have,
Omega beam the crap out of him, I
exactly,
guess.
Yeah. So, everyone shows up, and she wakes up, and Darkseid goes away, and
so
let me
ask you a question. If you lived in this house, like this was Real World New Gods edition,
Real World New Genesis,
you're in this household. Every room you walk into, do you just have like symbols and you're just crashing them? Like, wake up, beautiful dreamer, wherever you are.
Have some no-dos. Yeah, so everyone sort of storms in, very real world style.
Exactly.
They're just like, it's like, hey, what's going on? What is this? A producer didn't send us all into the same room at the same time. And so Dreamer's
True story.
So Dreamer, she's just like, yeah, I just had a dream. Well, Darkseid was there, but all of us were there too.
And you were there.
And you
were there.
And you were there. And I was dreaming of our new hit single, Taru. We were just saying that one word over and over again, Taru. It's like, we were just saying the same song over and over again, and that's our new hit song.
Was it
it's
a Taru?
Well, no. Well, hey, we could just keep saying Taru over and over again. All anyone's going to wait for is the bass drop. So
it's true.
Well, we're good, okay? Just deal with it. That's how Infinity Man, the Forever People roll. So Serafina, as the producers, push her off to the side, say, go walk by Big Bear's room. So she goes and walks by Big Bear's room.
I cannot believe by the second issue we have turned this into Real World New Genesis Edition.
Within 2 minutes, I'm ready to run with that. So, Big Bear, he's cryptically talking to Kirby, their computer. He's checking in on the last team. I don't know. Did we establish what happened to the last team?
No, they showed up and just disappeared.
Yeah, Big Bear's just like, our last team's gone. You're the new team. So they made a field of crops in the Middle East, which they named the Feast of Eden.
I'm sure that flew very nicely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's checking out. It's like, let's go check up on our field that we made in, a barren Middle Eastern desert to help people with hunger and whatnot, because we're so good and benevolent. They boom tube over there, and they get attacked by locust parademons, as we saw at the end of last issue.
Although they did have the conversation where Big Bear's like, yeah, all we did was bring in some alien cross-pollination and injected alien DNA into their insects to spread it throughout the planet. I don't know what could have went wrong. It was so self-aware that he was just like, probably not a good idea.
Yeah. So they get attacked by the locust parademons. They get to showcase their power set. We see that Viking can control his own density, so he can make himself lighter or heavier, so when he punches people, he can drop a megaton punch on them or something. Oddly enough, Moonrider has something called the Megaton Touch.
That was another great single off their first track.
Oh, yeah, I got to have that Megaton Touch, yeah. It's a force of raw explosive power that really slowly tears you apart. Yes. That he can only use sporadically, apparently. Man, we're making this book so much better than it is. Serafina, she's Dazzler. That's all you need to know. She's got light powers, so she's like, look, everyone be distracted by this. Apparently on Apocalypse.
So pretty much what she does while they're having their single, they're singing their single Taru, she does all the light show
she does the special effects, and when they're fighting parademons are very distracted by bright objects.
And jangly keys. That's the next guy that they join their team.
So it's like cats and babies?
Yes, exactly. Just homicidal cats and babies. Big Bear is Orion now, apparently.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. But not Orion, because
Orion's already...
He's full-blooded just of his own decision. I guess he is a full-blooded apocalyptan. He was born, raised there, grew up there, and then for reasons unknown to us, he just left and kind of teamed up with New Genesis.
Are we talking about Big Bear or Orion?
Big Bear.
Okay, Big Bear, yeah. It's he's just sort of...
Because Orion had the whole swap of kids for the Peace Accord, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So, it wasn't really his decision. He just grew up on New Genesis, even though he was from there. This guy actually made a conscious decision to leave Apocalypse and
that's what it seems to be, at least. Yeah, so he busts out his tiny, stubby Wolverine claws, hides himself under a pile of paralocusts, and just goes all ugly-face rage mode.
Constipation face.
Yes, and just... brutally murders all these locusts, and then as soon as everyone's like, oh, hey, Big Bear, you okay with that murderous blood rage over there? And he turns around, he's got his regular face back, he's like, oh, don't you worry, little lady, I'm doing all right, I'm Big Bear.
So is he like the road manager or something?
Yeah, that would sound right.
Yep.
That would sound right. Mm-hmm. I also want him to sound like one of the country bears from Disney World.
Big Bear's Country Time Jamboree.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the best.
Yep. So, then Mantis, who's the big bad of these paralocusts, shows up, and suddenly the mother box that's kind of hilariously bonded to Viking, it starts glowing and transforming, and they're just like, oh, hey, we should all just come on over here and sing our hit single, Taru. So they go and they touch the mother box. They start going, Taru, Taru. The bass drops and suddenly turns into the Infinity Man. All three of them combined together, their powers combined, form the Infinity Man. They're kind of like Captain Planet, except instead of him just popping out of their mother box, they all form together, I guess, Voltron style, to become the Infinity Man.
And there's only 4 of them because they were like, Mati, get out of here. We don't need you.
We don't need you or your monkey. Get out of here.
We don't need Heart.
Heart, that makes no sense. They were drawn at straws.
They're like, we have 5 major markets we need to hit. So what's another element? I don't know, a heart? Poor South America.
Yeah, sorry, South America.
They really got screwed on that one.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're going to face down against Mantis.
They're going to face down. They and as Infinity Man are going to face down Mantis.
So was it what you expected when I said you're going to handle what is it? Infinity Man and the Forever People.
Yeah.
What was your first thought? Like, what am I walking into?
Yeah, I really didn't know because I know that they show up in the cartoon and they like made brief appearances back in the original Goofy Young Justice.
Yeah,
like they did originally steal the Forever People's power bike.
Are they actually gonna? Do you think that mother box is gonna turn into the bike/ball thing from the cartoon?
That'd be cool.
It would be actually.
But yeah, I'm very confused. Like it's a lighthearted read. I'm not quite sure if it's hitting all of the marks that it should be to be successful, if that makes sense.
I guess.
Like I said, it still doesn't really feel like a New 52 book, despite the fact that they're changing things, obviously. We got Tom Grummett on art now instead of the...
just for this issue.
Just for this issue?
Just a guest issue.
All right. Are we going back to the faux Kirby?
No. I want to say I can't remember. We get another guest issue next one, and then it comes back to Giffen again.
Okay. Like I said, one of my big sticking points. It's a dumb sticking point, but I love the Cliff Chang New Gods redesigns, and these do not look like that at all. They do not look like they fit on the planet.
Modern style.
They look so old and outdated, and we go off with the Kirby, which everyone loves Kirby, but it's an older thing, you know. Let's try something new. We're already doing something new. Why aren't we continuing that through line?
I got no problem with a montage of let's just put together, you know, the greatest hits of things that we like and people love.
Yeah. And then you bring on Tom Grummett, who, I mean, God bless him. He does a good job, but he's been drawing the same exact way for the past 30 years.
Okay.
Like it's nothing new or exciting there, unfortunately.
See, I kind of liked it. I like the Mantis Parademon designs and everything too.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it looks fine. It just doesn't seem to fit with everything else.
But the tone also doesn't fit with everything else.
No. I mean, and there's certainly fun parts. And
it's certainly writing to the tone of the book. You can't say it's not.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of whether it's writing to the tone of the New 52.
And like I said, we're having fun with it, but we'll see how long that can last with everyone else.
Okay. Well, I will let you at least have a couple issues before I make a call on it.
Yeah.
But,
and
I was just curious what you thought you were getting walking into it.
And I will say this. There was a panel of Dreamer being all scared, clutching her pillow as Darkseid's about to beat up her pseudo boyfriend. And it was just a really well done picture.
Yeah.
Really well done panel.
Well, I'm going to keep us new though, because we're going to the new Suicide Squad number 1.
Suicide
Squad number 1 from Sean Ryan and Jeremy Roberts. Kelly, you almost got bumped this week just because we had a new Suicide Squad.
You know, and that would have been okay.
I figured I would save it for when we get a all new Legion of Superheroes. Then we can definitely make sure Beth's on here.
She'd be thrilled.
This one has a lot of interwoven, so I've kind of broken it out and generalized it a little bit because as I'm telling this recap, I understand it's actually intermelded amongst itself, and a lot of the transitions are where the fun of this book is. While these bureaucratic discussions are occurring, it's put over top of action that's occurring with the team, and it kind of matches up, and it actually reads a lot better. So don't judge it off of my recap here. That's the forewarning I want to give. So we start with the bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. 3 months ago.
Red hot bureaucratic action.
Yeah. Where the Secretary of Defense has put a new bureaucrat in charge of the Suicide Squad operation.
Hermes Conrad?
No.
Oh, boo.
But I'm going to watch a lot of people's ears perk up. This gentleman's name is Victor Sage.
Aha.
And he is the new hotshot up-and-coming bureaucrat. He's worked his way up through the Treasury Department.
Oh my God, he's working for the government. That's fantastic.
Exactly. And what better way? This was the gentleman that was kind of the hard-boiled film noir style question.
This is the question. Do you remember Justice League Unlimited, the cartoon show? The question who would show up would be all conspiracy theory.
Would have like the string boards and trying to figure everything out. That's this guy, or it was this guy. Now we have a whole different question.
So now we know that other question is different, and everyone's probably doing backflips in excitement that's not their question.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So not only that, giving him a government job, especially one that's already based off of a conspiracy where the U.S. government is using villains to destroy foreign interests.
Oh, fantastic.
kind of can already start seeding some stuff where he knows things he shouldn't. He can get all frazzled down the line, maybe, if they even want to go that route. I don't even know if that's the route they want to go, but...
Get really upset about aglets.
It's a really great starting point if that's the route they want to take the character. But he is kind of glib at this point. He has Amanda Waller working for him, and he shows up late to the meeting, and he's just got like, hey, had to pick up some coffee. Did the operation start already? I'm not worried about it. I put together this new crack team of Suicide Squatters, and the new squad is Deadshot and Harley Quinn got to stay. He thought boomerangs were out of fashion, so he literally kicked Captain Boomerang off the team.
Boo.
Just because he thought boomerangs were lame. And basically the only people left are Deadshot and Harley Quinn of the original team. He has added on Black Manta, as we saw earlier in the end of the last run of Suicide Squad. He has joined the team. He has also added on Deathstroke because he's easy to control. They just have to give him money. Not very difficult to control after that. And we round out the team with Joker's daughter.
Huh. That makes perfect sense with everything else we have seen from her.
Well, Vic Sage has told her that they have the Joker. And that they will give her the Joker if she goes on a couple missions for him.
I'm sure her and Harley Quinn will get along just fine.
That's the fun part.
Okay.
It is Harley Quinn and Joker's daughter hate each other, and Deadshot and Deathstroke hate each other because they are redundant. Deadshot even complains in the issue. I'm the assassin guy. Why are you getting to take the kill shot? He's like, no, I'm the assassin guy. You're just the shooty shoot guy. And these two hate each other. Obviously, Harley Quinn and Joker's daughter are like, you're a fake Joker. No, you're the fake Joker. So, as Vic Sage even says, he likes some friendly competition on the team to see which ones will survive. Which ones will be more market friendly when it comes to putting together this team. I'm pretty sure we know the answer to the question on at least one.
Yes.
So their first
How does Suicide
mission,
Squad interfere with Harley Quinn's roller derby schedule?
Well, you know,
that's got to be a real nightmare.
Not really. They let her out on Thursdays, and she gets to go do that. So our setting for their first mission.
Vic Sage, a big Mary-Kate and Smashley Olsen fan, huh?
Very much so. Very much.
Mary-Hate and Smashley Olsen.
Nice try, though. Their first mission? Mother Russia. Let's go back to Russia.
In Soviet Russia, Suicide Squad suicides you?
No. So their
We're doing
first mission...
a lot of Russia.
There is a lot of Russia. There is a lot of Russia. That's why I had to go find music, because I was like, you know what? If we're just going to hang out here all episode, I might as well have some backtrack. So... This is an assassination/data retrieval mission. They just need to get in there, get some data, and Deathstroke is going to kill some high-ranking Russian official because they've been feisty recently. And so they go in there, they knock down everything, they bust into the building, they get the data they needed. Everyone's very, very vicious. I mean, it is a very vicious team. They don't have the lightheartedness of Captain Boomerang on their team anymore, so they're not quite as fun. And it's no King Shark, no Captain Boomerang. It's just very, very evil people, and they're all trying to one-up themselves to prove that they're better than their counterpart, while Black Man is just like, guys, come on, can't we all be friends? Which is a weird position for him to be in. He's kind of the only one without a duplicate, so he's just very like, come on, guys, mission first. Get your heads in the game.
No Aquaman villain duplicates, what's going on?
Yep. Sorry about that. So they get in there, and Deathstroke's about to take the shot when he is interrupted. When the entire team is attacked by the people's most glorious champion, Rocket Red, as a fleet of them fly down and demand surrender from the Suicide Squad. It's not him. It's not my Rocket Red.
Okay.
It's just their police that they have. I guess that's been their police for like many, many years. Their superpower police.
Yeah, they don't have like one individual superhero. They've just got their squad of Rocket Reds.
Yes. Well, 3 of them show up, and everyone seems very surprised that, hey, when did Russia get these? Which, as I'm sure you remember, Brian, from Justice League International number 10, our poor Rocket Red, the original one that I like, was actually uploaded into a giant robot, and his consciousness was living there before he died. So maybe they got a hold of that giant robot and have maybe cloned him? I don't know.
Maybe.
That'd be cool.
Just right-click copy, you know.
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome. Control-C, Control-V. Just dum, 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 dum.
Most glorious Rockets Red.
Yes. So, yes, this one is not as fun, but intriguing, especially with the Vic Sage stuff, especially with the Rocket Red stuff. They're kind of playing it a little political when it comes to the international policy stuff. It's very clear and evident as to what they are alluding to, with Russia being all snarky of late. And it could be interesting. It could be their exit point to be kind of modern day politics and jump into that field while having some fun.
It's a darn shame King Shark's not there.
No. We do see him this week, though.
Oh, I mean, he would have started trying to eat something, and everyone was going to be worried that he was going to start Putin.
Just do your book. I'm not even going to respond to that with any type of response. Go. Do your book.
Justice League United number 3. All right. So we initially come in with, we start off with Mia Bim Martin.
Come on, man. You can do it.
Mia Bean Martin? I don't even know if I'm saying that right. No one's corrected me yet. Who will become Equinox, who we know is going to be the last member of the initial team of Justice League United. She's at the Moose Factory. She's trapped in ice. And some ancient spirit lady comes in. She says she's one of the 7 who live in all of her people.
Wait, are you saying she was trapped in ice within a cave and some sort of ice yeti came in, but her lightsaber was just out of reach and she couldn't do anything?
That's going to happen if you let me finish. Yeah, she says it lives with all people, and then she says that the Witago, the antler monster who keeps attacking her, actually lives inside of Mia Bin, and that she only needs to say one word to make it go away. It's all very confusing. I'm waiting for the final pin on this. I almost wished it was all contained in like one separate issue after all this, but I'm sure it might be leading up to something.
Is the one word shoe? Oh no, it's the Watago shoe.
Get on out of here.
That's more than one word.
No, when you say it like you say it, it's all one word. Meanwhile, out in space, we've got wacky Zeta Beam mishaps.
Yes, and it was great. It was so freaking sitcom-y.
Oh yes. Cue the Benny Hill music. Start playing the Scooby-Doo chasing through doors music.
Okay, done.
So when everything exploded last month and we thought everyone died, the beam of light wasn't explosion-based. It was a Zeta beam. And Sardath from the planet Ran transported everyone out, but things got messed up and everyone went to the wrong place. So like a few people showed up in their chamber and a few other people just showed up like out on the ground outside. And so like Sexytime Lobo is there in the group that Supergirl wound up in. He's like, hey, I know you.
You tried to kill me twice.
I hate you. So he goes and he just like punches her right in the small of her back. Awkward place to punch someone.
That is a very awkward place to punch
I do like how everyone else is like, Supergirl, you know this guy?
Yeah. And they don't react. It's like, she knows this guy. Weird. And so he just starts wailing on her. So Green Arrow attacks. Plink. Little arrow. He's like, oh, an arrow. He's like, excuse me. That's an explosive arrow. And so it explodes in Lobo's face and he's completely unfazed. He's like, okay, whatever that was. And then Supergirl shows up and literally punches Lobo halfway across the planet. Yep. And Animal Man's just like, oh man, that is very impressive. I'm glad you're hanging out with us. That's super cool.
Hey, what about my arrow? But my arrow distracted him.
The most important thing in all this wacky, fun mix-em-ups is the Alana and Adam Strange Zeta Beam instance. Yeah, they apparently seem to have been inextricably linked by the Zeta Beam radiation, and so they keep switching places.
Yes.
They are
mid-fight.
The original one was Adam lived on Earth, and occasionally he'd catch a Zeta Beam and he can go see his girlfriend out on her home planet in space. The storyline possibilities here of they love each other, they can't be in the same place at the same time, and that the Justice League is going to have this one member who keeps switching in between the two.
Yep.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yep.
Holy cow. Because, I'm not going to spoil it, but I've seen artwork that would lead me to further think that.
Okay.
And I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Perfect. I thought it was a nice touch as far as a plot development device moving forward.
It's a twist on the old concept, and I really, really like it.
Good.
Bith goes and attacks Supergirl. Martian Manhunter bonds with the rapidly aging Ultra the Multi-Alien, the conveniently rapidly aging Ultra the Multi-Alien.
We already had a design for you. You can't be an infant the entire time.
Yeah. And Hawkman sacrifices himself to get the exploding Zeta Core away from the city.
Wait, who did that?
Hawkman.
Are you sure it wasn't Wolverine?
Okay. Birdverine says, but there's a really nice touch of this thing's going to explode. They're going to lose their teleportation technology because of it. And it's also going to kill everybody. And Hawkman's sort of like standing there with Adam Strange and Animal Man. He's like, well, you guys have families. I don't. They apparently already killed my girlfriend.
I've already got a harness here, so we can just strap it on me.
I guess. And so he goes off and he sacrifices himself. Shaboom! Lobo shows up in his awesome space getaway car. He's like, "That's it, Biff. The jig is up. We're out of here." And so he grabs him by the scruff of his neck, and they go blasting off to get away. And Hawkman is dead. He's totally dead.
Totally dead.
We haven't seen his arm regrow or anything already.
He's a space zombie. We know you can't die.
Yes. Yeah. And there's one more little shout out that's where we end. One more little thing. There was just a shot, and it was a tiny panel too. But it's like everyone flying, and they had like little color streams coming off of them, like of their respective colors. It was just a great, iconic little shot.
Yep.
And like I said, it was like a little throwaway panel, but I hope they continue with that.
That was the shot that I think they're going to use as their iconic shot for the team, where it's basically if they ever want to push it and say, hey, Justice League United, that's probably going to be the background shot, I would assume.
Yeah.
Because it just looks like it was almost a marketing panel. Mm-hmm. Not that it was, that it looks that good is what I'm saying, to be a marketing panel. So
when you see those 4 or 5 streaks of light, it's like, oh, the fun ones are showing up.
Yeah, here they go. So speaking of things that we weren't expecting to be fun.
I was expecting that to be fun.
Well, not when the first title was announced, before we even knew who was writing it.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting it to be fun.
Gotcha.
JLA was not fun. And this is technically the continuation of JLA.
Yeah, you're right.
It was a switch in gears pretty quickly. The next one I got, Superboy number 33 by Aaron Cooter and Jimenez. Wow, wowsy, wow, is all I could say. So moving on.
Okay.
I cannot believe I like this book as much as I do. Let me give you a hint. This is how this book starts. The entire facility they were in last issue exploded, and 2 of the people that worked for Nowhere that were cryo-frozen, Leash and Hammersmith, just 2 random guys, I guess are like Gen 13 characters.
Okay.
They got blasted outside of it.
Yeah, and those sound like Gen 13 characters.
Well, they picked themselves up out of the snow, and they look back at the place, and it's surrounded by this force field bubble. They're like, what the heck just happened there? Was that Superboy? Yeah, I think it was Superboy. What was up with the cast of 90210? And Hammersmith looks over at Leash and he's like, how long were you frozen for? He's like, 97. That explains the bandanas and all the look at it. I mean, it's just such a playful title. They are very self-aware that these are kind of characters that nobody knows or is even following anymore. So they're just like, yeah, whatever, just have some fun with them. So inside this bubble, it's this entire Nowhere facility surrounded by this reddish force field. It is that cast of 90210, which is the Guardian and all of his star pals that are out there. And they were working with Superboy, who of course flew inside this facility. And they're like, well, I don't know where this force field came from, but I'm assuming it's from inside. So guys, let's mount up, head inside. We'll overload the reactor or something. It'll drop and we can all get out of here. And they're like, okay, that sounds like a great idea. And they open up the doors to enter in, and it's this giant chamber where it is 52 multiversal Superboys punching it out and screaming at one another that they are the one true Superboy.
Is one of them a lamp?
No, one of them is not a lamp. But there's like an old man Superboy and like a Bizarro Superboy, or Bizarro Boy even. And I mean, there's just all these Superboys all over, a red electric Superboy, a blue electric Superboy, just all of them out there, and they're all fighting around. And the only thing that the Guardian jaw just drops, and he's like, what in the name of God is happening here? And we're going to find out right now, because whoosh, we go into the mind of John Lane Kent. And inside his mind, it is all white, and he is having a conversation with Khan.
Dumbledore?
What's that?
With Dumbledore?
No, he is not having a conversation with Dumbledore. And you, little missy.
Or the mate. Let's see, who's the guy in the Matrix that's in the White Room?
No, not him either. Not him either. But later on, you have a chance to prove your Harry Potter knowledge. Not in this book, but later on this issue. So it's gonna
later on this episode.
Because I was like, issue is this book.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway, inside their head, they're having this conversation where Khan is trying to fill John in about what is happening. And he's saying, well, you see, John, between you and me,
you see,
we have kind of royally jacked up the space-time continuum.
No.
Yeah, I'm just throwing this out here. And he's like, well, what do you mean we jacked it up? I mean, last time I saw you, I tried to kill you in the future, and then you just disappeared. He's like, yeah, well, I went back in time, even before this time, to try to save Krypton, our home planet, but then I died back then, but then came back to life and worked as a harbinger for this big space guy. I guess I was like a summer temp for him. And I would just have to go get him coffee, but space coffee. And I'd fly it back and he'd complain and smack it out of my hand saying it's cold. And I'm like, it's the vacuum of space, you bastard. And anyway, they have this conversation where he's just telling him about all this. And he's like, okay, so what do you mean we've jacked it up? You're here now. I'm here. You're my clone. And he's like, well, kind of. Because if you remember, John, in the future is when you were running around, correct? He's like, yeah, around the 30th century. That's what was going on. He's like, and as you see, you've been getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And he's like, yeah, I've been losing my powers. We'll see further in your timeline, your quote unquote dad Harvest will cryogenically freeze you and bring you back to this day and age so that he can try to find a cure for your sickness. He's like, okay, so what do you mean? Well, what I mean is that there's more of you here now than there should be because there's a frozen you somewhere over in one of these nowhere labs, as well as you from the future that's here now, as well as me who's a clone of you, but from your past. And he's like, okay, never mind. I don't care anymore. What are we doing here? What's happening now? And he's like, well, again, we tore the space-time continuum. That's why there's all these other Superboys here. This is kind of our reality. We're just kind of tearing it apart. It's Superboy Nation living forever right now inside this little bubble. And John goes, okay, so what you're saying is we're kind of the gods of this little pocket dimension that we've created. He's like, yeah, kind of. Okay, well, we better help out our Star Labs pals because they're being overrun by Superboys here. So they start granting them powers. Like the IT guy becomes kind of like a robot man type thing. He just becomes, in one of our alternate timelines, you become one with the technology that you worked with. And Neeti, the girl that keeps flirting with him all the time, you have such strong willpower in one of the other timelines, you became a Green Lantern. So poof, she becomes a Green Lantern as well. And Ravager, back in this other one, you were totally badass and could take on Batman, Ra's al Ghul, Deathstroke. You were like awesome, and poof, and she has her old costume back from pre-52. Yeah, they're just like, ta-da, there you go. They have fun.
Remember how much cooler you were then?
So now it is, he goes to do it with the rest of the Star Labs people, and all of a sudden they just get ripped apart. They just phase out of reality. And they're like, well, what was that? Uh-oh, I forgot. There's the third Superboy who's here with us, the Frozen You. His consciousness is in here with us as well. And that's when evil Superboy kind of rips them all apart, beats down John and Khan, and then assimilates them back in and takes over as the new god of this little dimension breach thingamabobberoo as he just starts murdering all of the Superboys from across the multiverse. He's very Superboy Prime-ish.
Okay.
And he's just going to tear everything apart and do it his way. And he's all crazy and rawr, fear me. But it's just so fun and playful and it's so dealing with the cards it was dealt.
Yeah.
And just running with them, but having fun while doing it. So I can't really complain. I'm kind of curious to see what he would have been able to do without this much baggage weighing around his neck right now, because a lot of it is really, really fun. And then he's just like, okay, well, I have to acknowledge all this stuff that came before and try to make it work with my stuff. And he's doing a good job of it, but I would like to see him unfettered on a title at some point down the line. I think it would be a lot of fun. He's really impressed me as far as his writing style.
Writing and artwork, geez.
Yes, yeah.
Way to make us all look bad.
Full package.
But can he dance?
We'll have to find out. So next up, Brian.
Superman, Wonder Woman, number 10.
No, that's right. Super half.
Yeah, so Steele and Lana Lang, when we last left the Doomsday bracket, etc., They went to confront Super Doom out in outer space. They tracked the Brainiac signal that's beaming down and causing all the problems back on Earth.
I was going to say, you can find the Brainiac symbol anywhere. It's just 3 dots.
Yeah.
You're like, there it is. No, there it is.
There's this place in Florida where it's everywhere. They try to get Super Doom to come back and help Metropolis because all that crap's going down. Lois Lane goes full Brainiac.
Or as the internet has called her, Laneiac.
Yeah, I've got it written down. That's what I came up with too. So it wasn't that big of a jump. So there is a past history of Brainiac just sort of inhabiting someone's body and using it as a avatar of himself. So this is kind of what's happening with her. Wonder Woman tries to deal with her. Lois Lane tries to resurrect her true love, John Corbin, a.k.a. Metallo, who will do anything she asks him.
And is now full robot guy now. It's no longer just cyborg guy.
Yeah, in fact, he kind of died doing the whole kryptonite mist thing, so it's really now the memory of John Corbin.
Yeah, it's kind of an echo
from Lois
of him.
Lane, in a robot body. Actually, in a Futurama head. Because Wonder Woman just tears apart Metallo, and Lois Laneiac, grabs the Futurama head of her ex-boyfriend, flies off. I was like, I don't like you. And out in space, Super Doom somehow confronts the cyborg Superman. I guess they're on a similar path. He's like, what are you doing here? Are you a clone? I'm kind of getting sick of all these clones of me. It's like, no, I'm not a clone. I've just got all these walrus squids. We're going to go and destroy...
We're just heading to Earth.
We're going to destroy your
Rage
planet.
and kegger going on this weekend. Figured we'd kick in and walruses love beer. What can I say?
Yeah, so Superman said... So we get these Superman Doomsday personalities talking to each other. His little shoulder devil and shoulder angel. And Superman's just like, Doomsday, you take this one. And Doom's just like, all right, sure, whatever. And I guess the next issue of the story is just going to be Super Doom murdering some walrus squids.
Yes. But the whole big thing at the end of this one is that the only way that he's going to be able to win this fight is to let Doomsday take control. But if he lets Doomsday take control,
everybody dies.
Everyone else is going to die once he's done tearing apart all the space walruses. So it's kind of the choose your path.
Yep.
You still enjoying the doomed stuff? It's kind of direction I wasn't expecting.
It's running very hot and cold with me.
Really?
It's like I'll like 2 issues, and then one will be like, oh, okay, that was just sort of an issue.
Yeah, I can see that. I kind of like the Wonder Woman Lois Laneiac conversation though.
Yeah.
Where they're both comparing their quote unquote lost loves and how Superman has screwed both of them over in their relationships, and he killed my ex-boyfriend or fiance or whatever he was at that time, and he left you all alone and flew out into space and has his weird Sexytime S on his crotch now that he's all doomy. It's all odd and awkward. He's flirting with space girls out there. Mm-hmm. It's not good. No. Not good whatsoever. The Doomsday Effect, it just pulls the girls in. Mm-hmm. It's like the Axe Effect, except it kills them.
Yes. Well, the Axe Effect...
it is pretty similar now that I think about it. But you do have one more book.
I'm continuing on to Futures End, number 10. If I haven't said before, those Ryan Sook covers are awesome.
Yes, they are.
I kind of wish he was doing a monthly instead of just covers, but hey, I'm cool with it. We're dealing with some different people this week. We check in on Masked Superman. He goes looking out for Boyer, the guy who Rampage busted out of prison. He goes and destroys one of his old bases and beats up all the security robots. He's like, "Where's Boyer? I'm gonna rip his head off," and all this other stuff. And then Lois Lane shows up, searching for clues or whatever. And she's like, "Hey, Masked Superman, what are you doing here?" He's like, "I'm looking for Boyer." It's like, "But he abandoned this years ago. I'm just following up leads on a story." It's like, "Well, I thought maybe this would be the first place he would go because it's the least likely place." And she's like,
"See, that's how Superman does it."
Yeah, I didn't say anything about murdering people. She's like, "Okay."
How long have you been standing there?
Yeah. So, okay.
This is why he's now Masked Superman, because he starts from the least likely solution and works his way back from there.
Yes. So, okay. Go keep on being weird there, Masked Superman. Checking out with Batman Beyond. Over at the Wounded Duck, Plastique thinks she might be a robot and keeps checking by bonking her head. Do you hear any metal?
Does that sound
up
metal?
There? Yeah. Oh, Plastique. But they're still trying to plan their terrific tech heist. Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis shows up.
Do you need some Ocean's 11 music here?
Oh, if only. shows up and tries to join their team. He shows them all the plans with his, future hologram technology that he has. And the key does not believe him. It's like, no. You're trying to undermine us. You're a superhero. You're not going to help us at all. So, Terry busts out the 5-finger death punch.
Yep.
But the non-lethal version.
The 5-finger, not quite as deadly punch.
Yes. And that catches the eye of Tim Drake.
Not all the holograms, though.
No, not that.
The hologram designs of an entire building and Alfred speaking from a computer.
No. What catches his eye is the 5-finger death punch. So Tim Drake, who, as we all know, is currently living under the name Bigby Scrogbottom.
What's he doing behind the bar?
He was cleaning a dirty glass with a rag. It distracted him from his dirty glass cleaning. So him and Terry have words because he knows that Bruce trained him, because that's a thing that Bruce trains his people to, because he's the one who discovered the non-lethal version of the 5-finger death punch. It's like, I know who you are. You may not know who I am, but I know who you are. Yes. So they have some words, and it's like, you just get out of my bar. Frankenstein and Stormwatch. Amethyst gets all feisty with Hawkman about what a jerk he's being, and Hawkman's just like, oh man, Hawkman like this a lot.
Hawkman like the abusive Amethyst.
Mm-hmm. He then notices that someone activated the Stormwatch communicator, which means he's not the only one that survived.
So we have a couple members of Stormwatch that were not there, of the current day Stormwatch.
Yeah, but we didn't get a full roster of the current day Stormwatch.
Not the future Stormwatch.
Oh.
The present day, like the actual present day one that just got canceled.
Yes.
There's some people missing.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think it is?
Well, I know in my heart of hearts it's not going to be, but I really want it to be Harry Tanner, the Eminence of Blade.
Yes, that's who I want to. And if it's not Harry Tanner?
Jenny Quantum.
Okay, that's who I assume it's going to be.
I also think it might be Apollo, who did some new power thing, because they haven't actually found him, have they? Is he sitting on a slab somewhere?
I think so.
I know
now that I think about it, I don't think
I think Hawksmoor is sitting on a slab somewhere.
Yeah.
And so is Mermaid.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know.
But we don't know. The gates are wide open. It is the future, and I mean, there's a mermaid in space, so who knows who else is out there?
Space Mermaid. And then we check in with some new characters. There's a super strong lady who's working at a soup kitchen. As she leaves, she gets trailed by Emiko from Green Arrow.
Yep.
And apparently Emiko is looking for her because she is Big Barda. And she drops her duffel bag, and there's the gigantic Jack Kirby armor in the armor. I don't know how she fit that in a duffel bag.
Does it just clank around everywhere she walks?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so Big Barda's joining the cast.
And Emiko's not going to be very happy because if we recall, not but a couple issues ago, Green Arrow just died doing something in some sort of scuffle. So I'm sure she's out for revenge, whether that be against Firestorm for not showing up or what, we don't know.
Yeah, she may know more of the story.
Yeah? So
on account of being his not sidekick.
That was an angle of the story I did not think was going to be touched upon again. I thought that was just
the catalyst at the beginning, and that was that.
Same. I thought it was just going to be a, look how crazy the future is. We just killed Green Arrow. Everyone's like, okay. Yep. Congrats, you killed Green Arrow. I think I could kill Green Arrow. Come on.
Animal Man agrees with me. Yeah, and Big Barda is the second coolest new god, so she's certainly in the top three.
Who's the first?
Orion.
Okay, I was going to say
Orion, Barda, Mr. Miracle. Those are the three. If you're gonna shunt off the rest of them, keep those three around.
What about Caliban?
Calabac.
Calabac?
Yes.
No, I like Caliban.
No, he's an X-Man. He's a Morlock.
Oh, maybe that's where I got it confused. Mm-hmm. Okay, then Calabac.
Yes.
So he's your number one now? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Orion? Wait, what? What are we talking about? I had Calabac's action figure when I was a kid. I don't know. He squeezes his legs and he throws his fists around. That's why I know about Calabac.
Yeah, that works. Yeah. I can deal with that. That's a fun toy right there. So that's it. That'll wrap up this half of the show. I'm going to go drink like half a gallon of water so I can try to regain my voice just from this half. Brian, what do you have coming up on round 2?
That's a darn good question. I've got Batgirl 33. I've got World's Finest 25. And Green Lantern Corps.
And I'm going to wrap up with Batman Eternal number 14. Big turn in the story there. Detective Comics number 33, still stunning as always. Birds of Prey number 33, and I will end the show with Constantine number 16. So enjoy a little pineapple spaceship here as we take a quick break, and we will come back in just a moment. And we are back. A little pineapple spaceship. Pew, pew, pew. Fun.
Okay.
But we are going to jump into books again because it is the Bat half of the show. And man, do I have a doozy to start off with Batman Eternal number 14. A lot of stuff happening in this one. Basically, everything that we've been dealing with in the first 14 issues comes to its head in this issue and launches the exact title that I was asking for. So, yeah, let's jump right into it. We begin in Arkham Asylum, where the Scarecrow is absolutely terrified, and he's running through the hallways because something has crept up from beneath and has taken over the asylum, some dark evil, as we see a pair of disembodied arms come out through the wall and pull him in. It could very well just be disembodied arms at this point. Like, I'm pretty sure they have, like, the avatar of chopped off arms in there now. But it just pulls him in and he disappears. So we'll come back to him at the end. Because we're going to deal with all of the police procedural stuff that's going on. Lieutenant Bard has confronted Mayor Haiti.
Doom, doom.
Yes, because he has a recording of his call between Falcone and him. And he's like, I'm going to destroy your re-election efforts, Mayor Haiti. You'll never get elected in Gotham again. I don't care if it is another Mayor Haiti that's running. No Mayor Haitis will get elected. And he goes, fine. What do you want? I just need to know where Falcone is. You got to tell me, where is he? And that's where the scene ends. So obviously he's turning Mayor Haiti against Falcone. Now we jump over to a motel on the outskirts of Gotham where the Penguin is absolutely furious because his casino was sunk to the bottom of the Gotham Bay. He's stuck hiding because there's assassins everywhere for him. He can't get to his money because Falcone has people guarding all the banks. Even though his legitimate money is out there, he can't get to it. And he is ticked when he gets a phone call from someone that gives him the actual location of where Falcone is. Not his men, not his operation, but where Falcone actually is. And he goes, okay, it's time for the Penguin to get his fins dirty. I'm going out there and doing this the old school way. I remember the parables. I remember how this city was run before I took it. It was the Lion. He was out there and he was just getting his hands dirty and doing stuff himself. I've been riding on the back seat too long. I need to get out there and make people afraid of me.
Lion Mane?
No, just some guy that went by the Lion. Okay. So at Falcone's place, he's kind of all ticked off because all his men just got arrested last issue. The mayor's not returning his calls. The commissioner is totally, his hands are tied. He's not helping him whatsoever. And he's all ticked off. So he's going, fine, I'm going to use all of Penguin's money that I stole and put out a bounty on his head. $1 million for any one of or the Penguin's gangs that want to sign on with me. If you just leave him behind and sign on with me, here's $1 million. It's not my money. It's the Penguin's anyway. So whatever. Here you go. Everyone gets $1 million. When he hears a scuffle outside, he goes out to find all of his guards that were on duty massacred. I'm talking massacred, disemboweled, chopped up. It's nasty. And he's like, what the?
Do we have a ding?
No arms missing. They're just stabbed up to hell and back. And that's when we hear the Penguin, who's like, Falcone, I've come for you. He's like, yeah,
you're for my long-range projectiles.
He's like, yeah, you're the Penguin. I'm not really that afraid of you. You never get your hands dirty. And he walks around the corner to find the Penguin in his long johns, frothing at the mouth, and he shoots like this knife out from his umbrella that pierces Falcone's wrist and pins him down, and is just standing at his throat with a knife and is about to slit his throat while he's just gibbering and jabbering about how he's not the Penguin anymore. He's just going to kill anyone that gets in his way. He's not just going to be this hoity-toity rich guy. And that is when the lights flip on and Lieutenant Bard and Vicky Vale and half the GCPD are there going, hey guys, you're under arrest. Falcone, we have you with all this contraband. Penguin, we got you with attempted murder. Come on guys, you're going in. And of course, Lieutenant Bard's like, ha ha, I'm the best police officer
Nothing bad's gonna happen to me now.
I'm the best. Everyone loves me. So, Red Robin, we're going to check in with some of these side stories.
Rev Robin?
Red Robin.
Rev Robin.
Rev Robin.
In charge of Run DMC.
He is flying off to Tokyo, as we recall, to trace down where those nanobots came from. And all of a sudden, his Google alerts start popping up for Gotham City going, blink, Penguin arrested, blink, Falcone arrested, blink, entire crime syndicate destroyed, blink, gang war stopped overnight. He's like, holy crap, what the hell happened back in Gotham? We better make this quick because I have a feeling I'm going to be needed back there. And he runs his diagnostics and he's like, why are we going so slow? This plane should go much faster. Okay, plane, run a diagnostic scan. Tell me what's going on here. And it's like, pling, there's 2 passengers. That's why you're going slower. You have twice as much weight. He's like, I don't have 2 passengers. I'm looking at the seat right now. It's like, no, there's 2 passengers on here. So he brings up the camera and we see Harper Row sitting in the back, eating all of his food that he has stocked up for the trip.
Man, twice the weight. Burn Harper Row. And she's eating? I tell ya.
She's not named Bluebird for the blue streak. It's because she loves their ice cream. That's what
Yes.
So he's basically just watching her eat all the food and just going, Harper, as he's going to confront her next issue. So, back in Blackgate Prison. Of course.
Back in Black
Yep.
Prison. That lesser known AC/DC song.
Much lesser known. Commissioner Gordon was just met by his son the night prior and was told, hey, if you want to escape tonight, I'll make sure the doors are unlocked at this time. You can just walk out and leave. You don't have anything. You don't owe this city anything more. You've already shown me that you're a broken man, that you're already frustrated with how this city works. You might as well just walk away from it. And he walks out of his cell and he walks to the door that would just open up and lead him out of the prison. And he's just staring at it. And that's when Batman kind of shows up behind him. And he's like, what you doing here, Commissioner Gordon? He's like, well, trying to make a judgment call. I was just going to either lock the door and go back to my cell, or I'm going to leave because I don't really have anything to stay here for. And Batman goes, well, I have something for you to stay. Falcone just got arrested. All of his men just got arrested. The Penguin just got arrested. All of his men just got arrested. There's a guy by the name of Emperor Penguin already here in jail. I think he's going by the name Emperor Blackgate right now. This prison is about to become Oz. Hardcore Oz. And I need you here to keep a lid on this whole thing and try to keep, I don't know, as few people dead as humanly possible. There's a guy named Beecher that's moving in. I don't know what his deal is. I get my Oz book. I was happy about that. So we are going to get Hua Oz going on at Batman Eternal. Some prison gang war action going on. So Batman has one final stop that he needs to make, and he goes to the rooftop of the GCPD where Lieutenant Bard has turned on the bat signal, all smug and happy. And he's like, hey, Batman, I bet you heard. I just kicked some major ass. I've arrested everyone. I am the best. So I want to extend the same deal that Commissioner Gordon had with you. I've kind of, he's my idol. I want to live up to his standards. So what do you say, partner? You and me against all the criminals of Gotham City. And he puts out his hand and Batman just stares at it. He's like, well, I was actually coming here to ally myself with you, but I went over the records and it appears Penguin got an anonymous tip telling him where Falcone was. And he's like, yep, we don't know who did it. It was an anonymous tip. We can't trace it. And he's like, well, I can. And it came from your cell phone, Lieutenant Bard. So I understand what you were trying to do, but your actions led to the death of 12 other people. That's not how we do things here in Gotham. That's not how I do things. That's not how Commissioner Gordon did things. He's like, well, times have changed, dude. We got to either change with the times or we're going to be left behind. We have to fight for the city and we have to be willing to do things like that. And as he turns around, he's like, so you and me, are we still going in on this together? And he finds that Batman is not there waiting for him anymore. So we get a little bit of a, is Lieutenant Bard a good guy type thing going on here. I mean, his heart's in the right place. He's doing things. He's just bending the rules a little bit, trying to do things the way he wants. But we get one final scene, our grand finale, as the Scarecrow is tied down to a table with the Joker's daughter straddling him from above, holding a hatchet, going, uh-oh, Batman and some mystical magical guy are here, so I have to move up my timeline. Limbs for the Limb Queen, arms for the Arm Throne. And we end the issue as she is bringing the hatchet down, about to chop off Scarecrow's arm. So, implied ding, cliffhanger ding. I don't know. I'm not going to give it until
if it's just a bunch of hay comes out, does that mean anything?
I don't think it counts at that point, but I don't know. It's, that storyline. If we take a step back, I understand comics are kind of weird to begin with. They have some odd stuff. Kelly, take a step back with me here. We have a teenage girl wearing the severed face of a psychotic killer that she has stapled onto her own face and has built a throne of severed limbs in the basement of an insane asylum.
That's kind of messed up.
It's kind of messed up.
Okay, it's a lot more than kinda. It's very messed up.
It's very messed up. I mean,
don't you think that they would be looking into her? I mean, that would be something that I would look into. You would think
as more prisoners keep showing up missing an arm, that someone would be like, does everyone know where Killer Croc is? Is this his doing?
Yeah.
Is something going on here? But I guess Arkham Asylum, there's weirder things going on, so... Everyone's just like, I'm just punching
Especially the Catwoman Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one we're dealing with here. It's Joker's daughter. So who knows? It's its own little thing. But I really like the way everything's playing out with the police and that whole storyline. That's actually very intriguing to me. And it's all coming together to be one long narrative now, where it is literally week to week to week. We are moving a narrative forward. I have a feeling we're going to jump to the Batwing Spectre stuff here soon, and that's going to derail that feeling until it links up a little bit. But for right now, it's chugging along. That's for darn sure.
Cool.
So up next,
Batgirl 33.
Yep, you get to stick with it.
I'm sticking with it
for no reason,
no ulterior motives whatsoever. So last issue we saw Batgirl. She's going to team up with Black Canary to finally take out Nightfall. Because remember things that happened in the past. And actually, you know what? Batgirl has been teaming up with Black Canary and Birds of Prey this entire thing. I just haven't been reading it.
Yes, they are teammates.
Yes. Huntress shows up so they can remember things that happened in the past.
There you go.
There we go. And because Batgirl has never met this Huntress, they fight because that's what superheroes do when they first meet each other. Tick.
Although this one was a little forced, I want to say.
Batgirl acting very irrational.
But she is wearing Nightfall's colors. I mean, that was even pointed out. That is Nightfall's look, is the purple and black Batgirl type look thing. So I can understand that. But to just go, the color purple, beat it down, senseless.
Yeah. Bleak Michael shows up. I'm very disappointed.
Were you really? He was staring off into the rain.
He was staring off into the rain. That was kind of bleak. That was a little bleak.
Everyone's gonna die. Oh, Michael, you're so bleak.
Yeah. I was expecting something just a little bit different.
A little more bleak?
A little more bleak. A little more woe is me.
Did you want like a 1980s Cure listener or something?
Yeah, pretty much. I was expecting something along those lines as a supervillain, not a dude with dyed white hair that shoots like chemicals out of his hands or whatever.
Goopy chemicals.
Yep.
So bleak.
Yeah, I just want him to make everyone sad and mopey, kind of like the depressed robot planet.
Yes.
So they track him down to a parking garage because I guess that's where Nightfall does all of her business. Very thrilling place to have something. And so they trap him using teamwork, and, they really drive home with a sledgehammer, practically, the fact that Huntress is willing to go out of her way to help Batgirl.
Hey, Kelly, do you want to bake a cake using teamwork? Apparently we don't need ingredients or anything like that. We just need teamwork. We can do things with teamwork. Come on, Kel.
You can't bake a cake without the ingredients.
With teamwork.
What's going to work?
Teamwork.
But even the Wonder Pets used, ingredients.
Yes. Make a good fly plane. So they trap him. They get the information they need out of Bleak Michael. They kind of try to sway him over to their side. But, Nightfall's doing this whole parking garage thing, apparently, to help America / take over the world for the good of humanity.
It's to remove the entire criminal element. That's her MO. She's just willing to kill them all.
With parking garages. Okay.
She just wants to kill
parking
them all.
garages. Okay, gotcha.
But then
not let them park in town so that way they can't get out to do any crime.
Yeah.
But then isn't she a criminal herself?
Yes.
Well, then she'll eventually kill herself.
Yeah, it's a self-solving problem there.
You paint yourself into a corner. It's like, well, I can either wait for the paint to dry or I can just kill myself. Hopefully I was painting everything red. So...
You know it'd be purple, and Batgirl would have to go in and punch the room up.
Yeah, so Batgirl is finally, she's going to storm the castle. She calls in Detective McKenna, who I don't know, Munira Khairuddin, who just sort of showed up last issue.
Was the Wraith, I think, is what she's going as? Something like that.
McKenna or Khairuddin?
Khairuddin.
Okay, yeah. They just call her by that name. Catharsis, because she calls her Catharsis. Like, are you doing anything right now, Catharsis? You know, funny enough, I am not. I am not doing anything. I can come from Coral City and hang out with you.
Do you think she's calling in the whole team, though?
Oh,
is it going to be all of the movement showing up?
That would be fun.
It's the same writer.
I would be happy if Mouse. I would just want Mouse to show up. That's all I really want.
That's the only person they can spare. We're all really busy eating ice cream here in Coral City,
Yeah.
but Mouse is open. Here you go.
Yeah, I hear there's a lot of rats, and oh man, Mouse versus Ratcatcher. Come on, let's do this thing. Yeah, and she also calls up Batman because this is very important. So of course Batman's going to show up.
Well, she just has to borrow the boat.
She just has to borrow a boat. Batman's a big fan of.
But we already know that the Teen Titans sunk it.
Yeah, they did. Is there a bat boat?
I'm sure there's another bat boat out there.
Yeah.
He's got backups.
Or a bat sub, maybe, or, you know.
Batman
Skidoo.
busts out his bat Pashmina Afghan.
So was it better this time around? I know last issue you were kind of like,
I feel like I'm missing a lot.
This is the culmination of
the entire series so far.
Yeah. We kind of started off with Nightfall and her dealing with stuff there. Well, actually, we started off with Mir, who ended up working for Nightfall, but I mean, it's all kind of been linked together since the beginning.
Yeah. Nightfall in her parking garage is not exactly the most intriguing of villains or locales for this kind of stuff. But
hey, man. If you control the parking in Gotham City, you control the city itself.
I did like someone who was just looking for their car walked by and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I have nothing to do with any of this. Just let me go." Click, click, beep. That's my car. Just gonna go. If only we could have gotten an extra 3 pages to her, dedicated to her just slowly backing out, driving around the acid pools and blood that was all over the place, and just like, "Okay, bye. I didn't see anything.
Enjoy your evening." Heading home right now. Mm-hmm. Why did I stay late at the office in Gotham City? I enjoyed it, though. I thought it wasn't that bad. I'm kind of curious to see how it ends. If you've been reading it up to this point, it's actually a pretty decent capstone run up to everything. So I'm going to move us on to Detective Comics by Manapool and Buccellato, because I can either go one of two routes. I can go really crazy in-depth on this one, or I can go a little higher level, and I think I'm going to go the second route because this is a lot of police procedural detective work. This is a straight up detective book. So there is a lot of let's find clues, let's analyze clues, let's figure out how the clues fit together and move the story based off of that.
The 30-minute mark exactly. Does it go over to the order side?
No, it does not.
Okay,
it does not at all. I'm sorry.
Does Ice-T act confused about things that he should know being a policeman for at least 10 years now?
Completely confused about how the statutes work in the courtroom in comparison to his arrest, whatever. So, where we had left off, Batman had just finished fighting a giant squid that was working for a gangster named the Squid. And
he was working for it? It wasn't just his pet, he was working for him as a gang member?
He was working for him. He collected pay, everything.
What do you pay a squid?
It was the 401k benefits that really pulled the squid into working for the squid.
I hope he's on direct deposit because checks do not work underwater. They just get all soggy and tear apart.
He just keeps signing it and the ink floats away. And he's like, why will no one cash my checks? Can you wheel my vat next to the ATM so I can deposit this? But their whole thing was broken up when the Kings of the Sun biker gang showed up. The Sons of Anarchy biker gang, maybe?
Okay.
We'll just say that. And the cops as well, and they kind of bust up this gang fight between the Squid and his group and this biker gang, and it is basically the Squid himself gets shot, killed, but his brother is taken by the biker gang, and they leave. Where they are taken is that this biker gang takes the brother of the Squid, Johnny, to Annie Aguila. Remember, Elena Aguila was killed by someone. They injected her with that Icarus drug, and she ended up burning out on Bruce Wayne's doorstep.
She is not going to be forming the Birds of Prey anytime
Not
soon.
at all.
The new Birds of Prey.
Her daughter, Annie, has just been hanging out in town trying to figure out what's going on. And that's when this biker gang shows up with the killer and says, this is the guy that is responsible for your mom's death. Here's a gun. Do what you need to do. And she's like, okay, you're a biker gang that just stormed in with a random dude, handed me a gun and said, hey, this guy killed your mom. You should shoot him. Why should I believe you? What do you guys have to do with this? What's going on? And the leader of the gang goes, well, I actually used to work with your mom. We've actually had a relationship in the past. AKA, I'm your dad. Hi, what's up? So I think you should get revenge against this guy because he needs to get what's coming to him, and you need some closure on this whole thing. Here you go, daughter. Here's a gun. You wrap this thing up. And she's just like staring at the gun like, what do I do?
She got the motorcycle DNA.
She does. Now, also in Gotham, Detective Bullock is roughing up that Wayne Tech employee that he traced back the containers to, the shipping containers that were shipping child slaves in from
They were big
Asia.
and dome-shaped, right?
They were not dome-shaped, actually.
They have not figured
Earth
it out.
technology is as far surpassed Kryptonian technology in storage.
Yeah.
So he's beating this guy up, just roughing him up, talking about how he used to be a Golden Glove boxer and put on a couple pounds since then, but he still, can put those into the punch. And this guy finally folds and goes, I shouldn't tell you this, but it's not Bruce Wayne that you're after. It's actually Congressman Sam Young. He's the guy that's been doing this whole thing. He's the guy that's shipping in these people. He's the one that's pushing the drugs. He's the one that's in charge of keeping the Aguilas from renovating the waterfront. And he goes, ha, 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 I'm the best detective ever by punching this poor high-level white-collar employee in the stomach until he told me what I needed to know. And he traces down more facts and more clues and finds that some of the shipping containers were actually shipped off to this power plant outside of Gotham. So he's going to go out there and check it out himself. Batman is also doing detective work because he had Alfred run an analysis of all the bikes and their activities, motorcycles, and one of the high traffic areas that they would all go to is this little hovel out in the woods. And he goes there and finds a bunch of photographs of the Aguila family and files on them and also stuff from that power plant. And he's like, was this the hit stuff? Were these guys responsible for the hit on Elena Aguila? Turns out, no, the guy was the father of the daughter, and he was just keeping tabs on them, but it could be a misdirect. I don't know. So he finds more clues and ends up tracing it back to that power plant, goes there, finds Bullock is already there, and the two of them have a detective off. I'm the better detective. Look, it's in my title. I'm Detective Bullock. And he's like, well, I'm the world's greatest detective, Batman. I'm much better.
Do they show their badges?
No, they don't. They're just having their argument.
So not like the Muppet movie?
Kind of. You completely threw me off my game now.
Sorry, that's all I can think of is,
that's the best part of the new Muppet movie, the French Interpol guy and Sam
I haven't
Eagle.
seen it yet, so that's why I was just like, oh, okay, sure.
Well, it's in the previews too.
Okay, sure. What was I doing here? Oh, that's right. These two basically get into an argument where Batman starts telling Detective Bullock, you're a little close to this. 5 years ago, back during 0 Year, you and your partner, it turned out your partner was actually dealing. Remember Spencer in the whole 0 Year issue of The Flash?
Yes.
Where his partner was one of the dealers and facilitators of Icarus within the city. And that's why this guy Bullock is so invested in solving this whole thing and figuring out, he's like, you're too close to it. It's because of your old partner, Spencer. And he's like, you don't talk about Spencer, Batman. And the two of them basically get into a fist fight. And as they come to blows and are punching each other, some energy being that seems to be where they're harnessing this Icarus drug from comes crashing through the window of the power plant in this beautiful spread of Batman and Detective Bullock basically boxing one another as the windows shatter open behind them and this energy being is flashing into the room. It's very stunning. Very, very stunning. So, and that's where we leave off. As I said, a lot of detective work, so it is matching its name. It's still gorgeously done. I kind of like the pace of it. I kind of like that it is a procedural. It is we're finding clues, we're piecing things together. We still don't know the whole story because we're following the clues right now. It's kind of fun.
I was worried about Manipul and Buccellato with Batman not being able to do the more outrageous stuff.
Yeah.
But they're doing a flat-out Batman detective story, but they're also working on, here's a super-powered guy who can do crazy visuals.
Squid.
Here's a giant squid. So at least they're still getting to flex their muscles and whatnot.
Yes, they're finding a way to fit it in naturally because the gangs of Gotham City obviously are super colorful. They're into the theatrics. They all have their thing, their mascots, I guess you could say, and that's what they're running with. So they are having fun on that front, at least. So you're up next, Brian.
All right, I am on.
It's the day. We've come to it.
It's World's Finest number 25. We have officially met the Demon Knights issue count.
You seem upset about that from the sounder you're playing.
So, see Earth 2 people on the cover. Okay, so let's go into the actual issue. As they're about to leave for Earth 2, they've only been trying to do it for about 24 issues or so. We have to make sure that Power Girl sleeps with all of her boyfriends one last time.
Yes.
And Huntress can eat as many cupcakes as she can seductively with her tongue.
A lot of tongue in this issue.
Weird amount of tongue.
Like, enough that I noticed there was a lot of tongues in this issue.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're talking about?
That's what I was talking about when you were wandering around as I was just shaking my head while I was reading this.
I liked the style of the art. When it's just normal, them sitting there having a conversation, I thought the art was very soft. It was very Vaseline lens, is what I'm trying to get at. But it kind of works for the friendship, soft room conversation.
And then it's just like, oh, pardon me, there's all this extra frosting here.
Yes, and tongues, and I don't need a fork to eat my cupcakes. I have a very long
I'm just wearing a towel right now. Okay.
Oh no, you pulled my towel off. Let me eat my cupcake some more.
Now we'll have a pillow fight.
This sounds like a fantasy.
It was very cheesecakey for the first half of this issue.
Yeah. We then wrap up all the dangling bureaucratic plot threads. Bureaucracy!
I was afraid we were going to skip over that.
That have apparently been hanging around in this series before I started reading the book, which was like issue 7 or 8 or something like that.
Okay.
So this is stuff that I had no clue what any of it meant. I've been reading every issue since then.
Yeah.
So no clue what any of it meant. Some chubby guy in the science department is like finally getting up the courage to talk to some girl in the science department he likes, and it's like, what? Who are these people?
It's all the Star Industries employees that work for Karen.
Yeah, I guess so. And so the only Star Industries person I ever dealt with was the person who got killed by Desaad. And then there was the scientist lady who like walked through Desaad, and she was the person
the one that was killed by Desaad's daughter. The one that walked through Desaad?
Yeah.
That's her daughter.
Okay,
the one
gotcha.
that died. So that's why she's all like, oh, I need to do something for her because technically I got her mom killed just by association.
Yeah.
I should probably at least leave her a cupcake so that she can eat seductively afterward.
Yeah, right in front of that chubby guy. He would, man, that's best of both worlds for him. Desaad shows up to mess with the transporter getaway because he wants to get back to Apocalypse. He's been stranded there. Darkseid won't send for him. He's super mopey.
He's bleak.
He's very bleak. He's more bleak than Bleak Michael. Thank you very much. So he goes to mess up the transporter getaway. Huntress and Power Girl stop him. They make it through the portal before he does. And like, okay, just close the portal before he makes it through. Desaad being in this room full of powerless Star Tech employees, nothing bad can happen.
Just throw the cupcakes at him. It'll distract him.
Yeah. Because we're just going off to this hell dimension right now. Nothing bad. We don't keep him here in the nice place.
Yes.
So very last panel, they set foot on the charred remains of Earth 2, and guess what, Sean? We finally made it to the fireworks factory.
Yay!
We're on Earth 2 in World's Finest. So the book's gonna be about Batman now, right?
So I do love the fact that their reaction to Earth 2 was the exact same as mine last week, where it was just opening it up and stepping through and just going, holy crap, this place is a cesspool. What happened here? It was so nice when we left.
Yes.
What are our pocket rats? Why are they even here? So yeah, now that they've gotten there, we get what? Maybe an issue, maybe 2, and then it's no longer about these characters. So,
yep.
Yay! Other than that,
they got so much accomplished in those 25 issues.
They did. They fought a giant dog and ate some ice cream.
They introduced us to the term pheromones.
They did, and ate some cupcakes. Went for cake one time. Gelato. A lot of gelato.
Pastries. Girls love eating, right, Kelly?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, girls totally love eating.
And Kara tried to sleep with an astronaut and then slept with everyone else because she didn't sleep with the astronaut.
Yeah.
So
how much do I actually eat? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, I know.
I don't.
You didn't notice from the tone of my voice what I'm trying to say.
Yes, ask the person that eats all of my cookies if they like to eat sweets.
Yes.
I barely.
She actually brought a box to come and share during the thing, and she had the last 2 in the car.
I actually had 2 left in my Chips Ahoy box. I was like, I should just leave 1 cookie left in it to see if she has the balls to eat my last cookie.
I probably wouldn't.
I was curious. But then I got hungry, so I ate it.
So, speaking of books that I forgot were still being published.
Oh,
Birds of Prey is next.
Number 33. We're coming up to the end of it, though. It's
you say that every month, though, and I keep thinking it's over.
Nope. I think we got 2 more issues.
Okay.
We go in interesting direction in this one.
All right.
And there's even a scene that I think was so expertly written and so self-aware and knows what it's talking about that it's a shame no one's reading the books.
Okay.
We begin where the Birds of Prey have been sent to save one of the blood relatives of Mother Eve, a guy by the name of Dr. Mambati. And they had gone last issue, found him tethered to a pole, surrounded by landmines, and they ended up rescuing him. But as they did, the Suicide Squad showed up, the old Suicide Squad. This is taking place in the past, so it's like Captain Boomerang, King Shark, Deadshot, Harley Quinn. It's the old crew. They show up and they go, no, it's our mission. We're supposed to rescue him. So this issue starts off with the Birds of Prey going, we're here to rescue Dr. Mambati. And the Suicide Squad going, we're here to rescue. And Dr. Mambati in the middle going, someone rescue me from both of these teams. It's so crazy. So, of course, a fight breaks out between the 2 teams. And it's a lot of fighting, but the highlight of it is King Shark chasing around Black Canary as she flies around, and him just going, birdie, birdie, clapping his hands, trying to catch it.
So is it kind of like Sylvester going after Tweety?
Very much so. He's just not very good at it whatsoever. And the fighting comes to a close when Black Canary finally goes, enough. This was all set up by me. If you remember, I had Condor send a message out using his security friends at the NSA. And they're like, well, what message did you send out? He's like, oh, it was easy. I sent out a message saying, I have Kurt Lance. And I'm expecting Amanda Waller to be here right about now. And that's when Amanda Waller steps out from behind the building and goes, you're right, I'm here. You got my attention. What is it you want? Now, as these guys are all arguing because the rest of the Birds of Prey are like, how could you do this to us? You used us, Black Canary, so that you could talk to Amanda Waller, blah, blah, blah. The Suicide Squad are standing off in the background, just kind of going, superheroes, man. I mean, they are so duplicitous and backstabbing. I can't believe this. They're like, I know. It's just crazy. That used to be our thing, wasn't it? And they're like, yeah, we used to be all about the duplicitous nature and we can't trust each other. But we don't have that as a unique thing anymore. Even all the heroes are doing it. No one cares if we're doing it because they get that in every title. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of a shame, really. Oh, well, you guys want to just gamble on this and see who's the big winner here? Sure, why not? We got nothing better to do. Our book was canceled. Okay, let's do that. And they start gambling. Such a wonderful scene.
Oh, man. You notice everyone's trying to work King Shark back into their books.
Yes, yeah, just get him back in there. So Black Canary flies off with Amanda Waller to have a conversation, and the 2 teams start fighting again because they have to. And Amanda Waller basically is like, what? What do you want from me? And Black Canary just starts yelling at her. We used to be teammates on Team 7. I honestly thought you were my friend. We worked together all the time. And I come to find out you had my husband and let me believe he was dead while you kept him in a tube somewhere. And she's like, you don't understand. The world's changed ever since you guys got together and destroyed that island on Gamora. It was just we couldn't allow you guys to get back together again. She's like, what do you mean? Kaiser Gamora's already stomping around. She's like, I know, I've been fighting Kaiser Gamora. Did you know that's actually Dean Higgins and Gamora combined together? She's like, really? I didn't know that. Holy crap, my mind's blown. They actually do have a conversation about how it's Dean Higgins, and Amanda Waller's like, that explains so much. I'm like, no, that explains nothing.
No, not at all.
And then finally it comes out with, so don't give me that crap. There's people more dangerous than me and Kurt Lance put together. So what's the real reason? Why have you been hiding my husband? She's like, okay, I'm going to tell you, but you're not going to like it. And that's how the issue ends. So I guess they're tying up some loose ends with some of these characters at least. Yeah, I don't know, something like that. I guess since Suicide Squad technically was the start of the whole Kurt Lance storyline, it is kind of a good idea to bring him in for the ending. Yeah.
More King Shark.
More King Shark. I can live with it. So maybe they'll wrap it up on a strong note.
Maybe.
But that Suicide Squad scene was spot on and so much fun. I enjoyed it very, very much. So what's your last one?
All right, I'm finishing off with my side with Green Lantern Corps 33. It's the end of the big Durlan War.
Durlans.
Yep. So
John Carpenter has taught me well.
So yes. So John Stewart and Fatality, they are about to celebrate the Green Lantern Corps win.
Consummate their victory.
Consummate their victory over the Green Lantern Corps, over the Durlans. When one of the Zezin kids showed up, because Zezin's just like a gigantic pool of molten energy.
Yes, they were going to consummate in the water that is actually the people.
A bunch of small children. So good job, guys. So when he shows up and he's
That's
being
creepy.
Yes.
So he shows up and he's being all adorable. It's like, you two are kissing. Haha, I know what that means. And so Fatality goes over. It's like, oh, you guys, you're so adorable. And then she eats him. She was a Durlan all along. She was the first person kidnapped. Sean called it ages ago, whether it was on the show or not. And she uses the Zezin energy to turn into an unstoppable Daxamite version of Fatality, specifically to spite John Stewart, who has been sleeping with her this entire period of time.
Yeah.
He's a little skeeved out, to say the least.
Well, he's been having a relationship with a Japanese hentai for the last, I don't know, what has it been, like a month now?
Yeah, at least a month.
Been a lot of tentacle porn
in
in his bedroom. I mean,
yes. Yeah. So the ring, her, Star Sapphire ring tries to fly away to go find the real Fatality. So she's somewhere.
Although having a creature made of ShamWows after the fact, very efficient.
And we will leave it at that.
Ew.
So, but the Daxamite Fatality, who I will refer to as Daxality from here on in because she never got a name, she crushes the ring so it can't fly back to her. So distress signal that we saw go into Hal Jordan in the last issue of Green Lantern. There's a big fight. She is able to subdue John Stewart enough to go fly off to Mogo to recruit the rest of the Durlans and fly them back to get their, to eat some children with her. So she makes it back to Mogo. We meet Purdue, who is the most amazing looking lantern ever, especially when drawn by Bernard Chang. He's like a Muppet bird.
Yes, he's very much
best.
is.
And when I looked him up on Wikipedia, he's super interesting too. So I immediately start worrying about Purdue because he's
afraid of another Bluebird Cobb incident?
Yeah, I'm afraid of another Bluebird Cobb incident. So I'm like, look out, Purdue! I'm like screaming at my screen.
You do get the fact that he's a chicken bird named Purdue, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. So, Daxality shows up. She murders the robot lantern that was right next to Purdue. I'm like,
Green Man, no!
Yeah. Was that him?
Green Man, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, he's just a bunch of ones and zeros. You can rebuild him. And Oliversity, the Snakebird higher education lantern, gets murdered. No! Oliversity. Hal Jordan, he's hanging out at the new science cells with Von Daggle, and he goes, I just got a distress signal that involves me going and flying headlong into battle. I'm here with another Durlan who is one of us, but he is a Durlan. So he's like, so Von Daggle, I'm Hal Jordan. I want you to stand here and watch all of these Durlans out from under my supervision while I go and Hal Jordan over here, okay? And
I'm going to be completely out of sight of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So you just do what you have to do.
All right. I see you're rubbing your hands together. That's good. You're excited about the mission. Hal Jordan, pew! And he goes and flies off. And Von Daggle, he tells Mogo, okay, Mogo, poison all of these Durlans so they can never take another form again. He whipped up some Durlan kryptonite or something.
Yeah, because it's the same radioactive isotope, just in reverse.
The reverse of the one that can make
sticking them into whatever form they want to choose. It sticks them into their
so they're now
form.
Permanently in
goop.
flux.
Yes, they're permanently goop.
Yep.
They're primordial soup race.
Yes. Yeah, so Daxality tries to kill Von Daggle for making her the only one of her kind. Mogo orbits away from the yellow sun that they were near, so she loses her powers, and they lock her up. And so John Stewart, he has a chance to kill her, but he doesn't because he's a better man. Superheroes shouldn't be killing people. And he's got to go find the real fatality now. And everyone just sort of stands around and is like, we were really worried about this whole Daxamite thing, but really we just got to make sure they don't go by the sun. They don't get a suntan.
Yeah, that's...
This was surprisingly easy after all that. Huh.
So all we had to do was bring them here, and then just Mogo turns around the corner?
Yeah. Yeah. So, meanwhile, funny we were all just saying that, some alien brings this creepy, filthy, otherworldly Guillermo del Toro bug girl some bad news that the Durlans have failed. And she goes, well, yes, I knew it wouldn't work. They solved it very easily, didn't they? And
they just rotated the planet, right?
Yeah,
I knew they were going to do that.
Yeah, but now they've been smeared across the galaxy. They're reduced in strength. They're weakened. So now the Shadow Empire can turn around and bring about the final eclipse of the heart.
Just the final one?
Well, they turned around. And
is it just a half eclipse?
It's not a total eclipse of the heart?
It's a final eclipse of the heart.
Oh, okay. Phew. I was a little worried there because you were going to break off into song and I was going to be...
I worked in the lyrics and that's all I have to do.
I know.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that one as far as this crossover, mini crossover, because it was just between Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps. What did you think of this one?
It was
the Uprising.
It was I'm just gonna count the whole Durlan thing from start to finish. I thought it was a well-told Green Lantern story. You got a bunch of saw a bunch of cool Green Lanterns, even though I'm always complaining about how many Green Lanterns there are. You saw them all working as a team. You got some good artwork thrown in there. We lost Bluebird Cobb. I'm a little sad about that.
Yeah.
But besides
the cost was high for that story.
It was very high, but I guess if there's no stakes, you don't want to read the comics anyway. So
I'm just very curious if the Green Lantern villains are still going to be deputies of the Green Lantern Corps.
I completely forgot about that.
Yep,
yeah,
they're still out there as well with their various teams. So if we still get the what was the weird guy's name? Kanjaro, and all those guys.
Evil
still,
Star, yeah.
Yes, and Hunger Dog. I'm going hungry.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious if that's sticking around at all because that was very interesting to me. Plus, I just like the fact that we got away from yellow versus green, red versus green, green and yellow versus black, green, yellow, red versus fuchsia. I don't know.
Yeah.
We got away from color wars, and I'm always happy to see that happen. So my last book for this week, for this heavy 14-book week, is Constantine number 16. And Kelly, you have a chance to live up to your, what do we want to call it? Her self-proclaimed professionalism. You say that you can do these books forwards and backwards. These Harry Potter
say
books.
Backwards.
Okay, well, you don't have to do it backwards. You have to do it forwards. I found the answer to this next question. Constantine is out on the hunt for allies. And one of the allies he is looking for is a gentleman that lives in the German forest who is a xylomancer. Kelly, what is a xylomancer? Xylo-mancer.
Xylomancer.
Because I got this answer off of the Harry Potter Wikipedia. Surely you must know the answer to this question.
That is not mentioned during any of the books.
It is a lesser known and lesser used version of divination using twigs and branches.
Yeah, they never refer to it by that name.
Apparently they do, because it came off of the Harry Potter stuff. You look up xylomancy and it's all Harry Potter all over the place.
Well, that may be somebody looking up what the branch of magic is. But that word is never used in, it is never used.
Potter card revoked. No cookie for you.
Okay, well, look that up and tell me exactly in what book it is actually mentioned in.
Okay. We'll do that after the show. So
because
they reference the book Xylomancy by Selena Sapworthy, and at least once a class in the art was taught in the North Tower at Hogwarts. So we're talking like a one sentence shout, maybe 2 sentences in the entirety of the series.
Did they actually say the word,
I could see I thought it maybe had something to do with the wands, but nope.
I thought it had to do with xylophones.
Yes.
So.
But like I said, did they use the word?
I bet you it was, but like I said, if it was only...
It was a throwaway. The name of the book is Xylomancy for Beginners or something like that.
Yeah, or it's like, Xylomancy is being taught right now after divination. One of those things. They never actually explained what it would have been.
Sorry.
Man, someone's doing some Google
that's right.
Someone's doing some Google book searching later.
Well, he is not the only one looking for this Xylomancer, though. So Constantine is out in the middle of the woods, and he finds out that the Cult of the Cold Flame is also chasing down this guy. Stumbles across this guy's home and gets inside just as the cult members do as well, and ends up trying to help this guy out by killing them off. They're like half werewolves that are showing up. And he ends up getting knocked unconscious when this guy by the name of Zimmerman the Xylomancer, such a melodic name that just rolls off the tongue. He goes full on werewolf, and he's like, roar-de roar, and he starts smashing heads and killing people. That's right, roar-de roar. And it ends up, he comes to, as Zimmerman's back in his normal form, is sifting through his memories and goes, man, you got all sorts of stuff going on in here. It looks like you have a compulsion spell that some lady cast on you, making you be a better person. You have like some fealty to the Cult of the Cold Flame that you have to listen to them. And he's like, I know, that's why I came to you. I want you to remove all this stuff so I can just go back to being D-bag Constantine. And Zimmerman's like, are you sure you want to do that? It is kind of making you a better guy. Do you think you're going to be a better or worse person if I remove this? And Constantine goes, I don't really care. I just need you to remove it. And he goes, okay, here we go, and starts the ritual. So back at cult headquarters, they actually hear all of this going on. They feel the little compulsion stuff being broken, and they're like, enact the Papa Midnight kill switch. We have to kill him before he gets out from underneath our thumb.
Papa Midnight?
Yeah, remember he sold them some sort of information? Okay. Apparently it was the kill switch, since he resurrected him back during the Shazamstantine stuff.
Okay.
When Constantine got gored by the bull monster thing. And Papa Midnight had to use his sexual healing to bring him back to life. Well, apparently he had a link and was able to just flip a switch and kill him. And that's what they do, because Constantine just shatters in the hands of Zimmerman like glass. He just falls apart. And Zimmerman's like, that was not me. I don't know what that was. And I may be in trouble. And that's where we wrap it up.
Okay.
So it was interesting. I kind of like some of the stuff. Again, Constantine's just kind of this weird little side thing going on that doesn't have much to do with anyone else right now, which is good.
Nothing
and
wrong
bad.
with that, yeah.
Yeah. I have a feeling anyone that would like Constantine would prefer it that way, just anyway. So they're not really ruffling any feathers by doing it that route.
Yeah.
But that's it. That wraps up.
Get some nice done in one stories done for the something that might be coming up
some
soon.
Show that may come up, and they can just have a trade of one and dones out there and ready and waiting. Not that they would have any synergy in that department.
No.
But that is it. That is all the books, all 14 of them. Forever books. Actually, just one Forever People book. But
yeah.
As a reminder to you guys, you need to go out there and buy these books. We need you guys to support them. Buy Infinity Man and the Forever People.
I'm not telling you
Brian?
Yes, why not? I want to see that continue now. Now that we've got a thing to run with, I want that to keep going. You're not getting even a fraction of how much fun Justice League United is.
Yeah, there's a lot of books, especially this week as our voices are gone, that we're just kind of like, meh. And it sounds like we're not thrilled, but we actually are.
People did stuff.
This is quite literally as excited as my voice can get, so without it just sounding like a prepubescent boy. So please do not take my tone into account when it comes to all of my recaps this week. There were some very, very fun books. Blame the roller coasters, man. America's Rock and Roller Coast kicked my butt.
Okay, Sean, before we go on, those references were made on Pottermore, and I do go to Pottermore occasionally, but I'm not crazy. And Harry Potter.
That is the additional website. With
it is
supplementary
yes,
material.
it's a website that has all supplemental reading material. It is not in the books.
Okay.
And Harry Potter Page to Screen, the complete filmmaking journal, is where it's also at. I have that book. I've only gotten through the first couple chapters, but that is not in the actual Harry Potter books, which I do know back to,
I don't have an explicit deny that says this term is not in the Harry Potter books.
It is not.
There's nothing that says this is not in the Harry Potter books.
It is not. It is referenced on those two things because I'm looking up currently where the appearances are and the notes and references in, the little footnote things of where this is referenced.
Man, someone ruffled some feathers.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So, no, that word has never been referenced in those books.
He would. Actually, they'd probably be plucked.
Yeah. To be fair.
But yeah, make sure you guys go out there and buy these books. Buy the Harry Potter book. Find Xylomancy in it. Defend my honor.
It's not there, I assure you.
That being said, guess what? We have more books coming out next week.
More?
It never
I thought we were
ends.
done.
It never ends.
So next week is the last week that they'll make them?
It could be. We'll have to make it to next week to see if that's the case. But we have a shortage at least. It is only 8 books next week.
They're getting rid of them.
Getting rid of what?
Books.
No. They have plenty of them. Man, if only there was a book on Xylomancy in here. We have Batman Eternal number 15.
I hate you, Sean.
Batwoman number 33. Green Lantern New Guardians number 33. Feels like a while since we've gotten that one. I don't know if this is an actual release, but Harley Quinn Invades Comic-Con International San Diego number 1. I have a feeling that's just a
con exclusive, probably.
Yeah, probably something like that. We also have New 52.
Harley Quinn gets very confused because everyone's cosplaying as her.
Yes. Is this me? No. Okay, whatever. New 52 Futures End number 11. Red Hood and the Outlaws number 33. Yeah. Robin Rises : Omega number 1. So we get to start seeing some answers as to why Glorious Godfrey just showed up out of the blue there.
Yeah.
And maybe see where the hell that's going. Supergirl number 33, where she's taking off the red ring, it looks like. It's the end of that arc. And hashtag Teen Titans number 1 comes out next week as well.
It's literally hashtag Teen Titans?
No, but it's been on all their marketing stuff.
Okay.
All their marketing stuff is Beast Boy doing Instagrams and Twitter posts and hashtags about who's on the team and stuff like that. So it's obviously they're aiming for a little bit more of a modern, playful tone, maybe.
Maybe we made some mistakes in the initial run.
Maybe we should backtrack and retry this again. But we have the team that we ended with Bunker, a green Beast Boy. I don't know how that happened, but he's green on the cover. Raven, still with the bird costume. Wonder Girl, and of course Red Robin. So no Solstice, no Kid Flash, no Bartor. Feel like we're missing out here.
No complaints.
But yeah, we'll go through those books next week and pick it up from there. So, do I do anything else? So that's right. Contact us, internet.
I think we forgot to do spoiler warning at the beginning.
No, I did.
Okay.
I did it. We're DCR Podcast on the internet. You can find us.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys don't have anything else, nothing?
Nope.
Pew pew pew. Good to go.
We're good.
Good to go. So, guys, enjoy your books, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives, and hopefully next week we will actually have voices and tones and, I guess, emotion to put behind things.
Maybe.
Because right now I just sound like a robot. So enjoy your week.